Welcome, brave souls. Tonight, we uncover the haunting legend of the Bloody Chapel, a place where shadows whisper, blood stains never fade, and the dead still linger. Enter if you dare, but beware. Some stories are not just told, they consume. Are you ready to face the curse?
The sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows over the Irish countryside. My car rumbled along the narrow, empty road as I approached Leap Castle, a place whispered to hold a sinister history. Locals called it the Bloody Chapel, warning me to stay away, but I couldn't resist. The castle appeared ahead, its jagged outline cutting through the misty twilight. Its crumbling stone walls seemed to watch me approach. I parked my car and stepped out, shivering as a cold breeze brushed against my neck. The air here felt thick with something unseen. Ignoring the warning sign nailed to the castle's weathered oak doors, I pushed them open with effort. The creaking echoed into the darkness beyond. A suffocating stillness greeted me inside, broken only by the faint sound of wind through shattered windows. Dust particles swirled in the weak beam of my flashlight as I entered the main hall. Each step I took on the old wooden floor sent vibrations through the castle, as if the walls themselves were alive and aware of my intrusion. A winding staircase loomed before me, leading to the infamous chapel. Stories of betrayal and murder came to mind, but I pushed forward. The air grew colder as I ascended, the oppressive silence amplifying my heartbeat in my ears. Reaching the top, I stepped into the chapel. The decayed pews and broken altar sat under faint moonlight, seeping through cracks in the walls. A large black stain stretched across the floor. My flashlight flickered, making the shadows dance ominously. A sudden noise broke the silence, a faint shuffle. I froze, scanning the room, but saw nothing. My skin prickled as if unseen eyes were watching. I wasn't alone. The stories of restless spirits weren't just tales. Something was here with me. The air seemed to shift as faint whispers surrounded me, rising from the shadows. I strained to make sense of the words, but they were too fragmented, too otherworldly. My flashlight's beam quivered as if the light itself was afraid. My gaze landed on the blackened stain on the chapel floor, rumored to be from the priest's murder centuries ago. The whispers grew louder as I stepped closer. A chill gripped me, and for a moment I swore the stain pulsed like a heartbeat. Out of nowhere, a translucent figure appeared near the altar. A priest in blood-stained robes. His hollow eyes locked onto me, and I felt rooted to the spot. He raised a bony hand and pointed at me, his mouth moving, but his words drowned in the growing whispers. Shadows on the walls began to twist and writhe, forming grotesque faces that stared at me with malevolent intent. My breath came in shallow gasps as the temperature dropped further, and I could see my breath fogging in the dim light. The priest's apparition flickered, his expression shifting between anguish and rage. His hand shot toward me, and a force knocked the flashlight from my grip. Darkness consumed the room save for his glowing outline. I stumbled backward in panic. The whispers turned to wails, and I could feel cold fingers brushing against my skin. The walls seemed to close in, pulsating as if the castle itself was alive. I bolted for the staircase, each step an eternity as the cacophony followed. I stumbled out of the chapel and into the open air, gasping for breath. The whispers had stopped, but I could still feel the priest's hollow gaze on me. My hands trembled as I fumbled to relight the flashlight. I was not safe. Outside, the air seemed heavier than before, pressing against my chest. The castle loomed behind me, but the whispers began again, faint and haunting. I turned to look at the chapel's window, and for a split second, I saw the priest staring out. Stories of Leap Castle's oubliette flooded my mind. Hidden beneath the chapel, it was said to be a pit of torment where countless victims met their end. The thought filled me with dread, but a deeper part of me needed to know the truth. Against my better judgment, I re-entered the castle, venturing into the lower levels. The air grew damp and thick with the smell of decay. My footsteps echoed in the empty halls, each step dragging me closer to the rumored pit of despair. At last, I found it. A rusted grate embedded in the floor, partially obscured by debris. I knelt, shining my flashlight through the gaps, revealing a pile of bones beneath. Some were ancient, but others looked disturbingly recent. A voice whispered, "Join us." My heart thundered as a dark shape began to rise from the pit. It grew taller, forming into a skeletal figure cloaked in shadows. Its eyeless sockets locked onto me, and I felt paralyzed under its gaze. The figure stretched a clawed hand toward me. I stumbled back, my flashlight flickering again. The whispers turned to deafening screams, drowning out my thoughts. The walls of the oubliette seemed to pulsate with life, trapping me in its grip. I fled blindly, the shadows' laughter echoing behind me. The castle's corridors twisted and shifted as if alive, leading me in circles. My breathing grew ragged as I searched desperately for a way out. The darkness felt suffocating, unending. I burst outside, expecting relief, but the night felt even darker than before. My car was gone, replaced by a rusted wagon that looked centuries old. Shadows shifted in the trees, their movements unnatural, predatory. The whispers grew louder, calling my name now. I turned to see the priest's translucent form standing at the edge of the forest. His hand beckoned, and I felt an inexplicable pull toward him, my feet moving against my will. I stumbled into the forest, branches clawing at my skin. The trees seemed alive, their twisted limbs reaching for me. Every step felt heavier, as if the ground itself wanted to swallow me whole. In a clearing, the priest appeared again, his hollow eyes glowing faintly. "It's time," he said, his voice cutting through the whispers. The air grew unbearably cold, and I fell to my knees, unable to look away. The ground beneath me gave way, and I fell into darkness. The whispers turned to screams as unseen hands clawed at my body. I landed hard in a shallow pool of blood, the smell of iron overwhelming me. I realized where I was, the oubliette. The shadows from above coalesced into the priest's form, his laughter echoing in the confined space. "You're one of us now," he said, and the darkness closed in around me. The last thing I heard was the chapel's bells tolling mournfully. My screams faded as the oubliette consumed me, sealing my fate. The curse of Leap Castle had claimed another victim, and I knew it wouldn't be the last. Weeks later, locals found my car abandoned near the castle. Search parties combed the area, but my body was never recovered. The whispers surrounding Leap Castle grew louder, and more visitors reported strange occurrences. My family received a package, a blood-stained notebook filled with my frantic writings. The pages described the priest, the shadows, and the oubliette, but some words were in a language no one could decipher. My brother began hearing whispers at night. My sister claimed to see figures standing at the foot of her bed. The curse had extended beyond the castle, spreading its malevolent grip to my loved ones. Reports of ghostly apparitions increased. Visitors claimed to see a bloodied priest in the chapel and hear screams echoing from the oubliette. Those who entered often left with strange injuries or disturbing nightmares. My story became one of many whispered in the pubs around Ireland, but none dared approach the castle again. The curse was too strong, its hunger unending. The bloody chapel demanded sacrifices. To this day, Leap Castle remains one of the most haunted places in the world. Some claim to see my face among the shadows, trapped for eternity in the oubliette's endless torment. My fate was sealed the moment I entered. If you ever visit Leap Castle and hear whispers calling your name, turn back. Some places should remain undisturbed, and some stories are meant to stay untold. The bloody chapel does not forgive.
The story may have ended, but nightmares have a way of clinging to you, following you into the dark. Tonight, when the shadows lengthen and you feel that creeping dread, remember, some nightmares don't end when you wake up. If this story left you uneasy and you crave more terror, hit the like and subscribe button. The real nightmare is only just beginning.